Welcome to the KK Harris podcast, Narcissism Chronicles. That's where we talk about all things related to narcissism. I am an executive coach and business coach psychologist with a certificate in psychoanalysis, where I studied the likes of Carl Jung, Freud, Melanie Klein, and some of the other greats. Today we're going to talk about something that is really interesting, and it's in the press, and it's all P Diddy. And I'm just looking and I'm examining and I'm asking questions about his mind. We're going to look at the shadow. If you like what you hear, please do subscribe to the channel. Follow me here on the podcast as well as on YouTube. You can meet me on my social media on Instagram at Miss_KK Harris and on TikTok as KK_B_psychologist. Anyways, all that information is going to be down in the show notes or down in the description wherever you are tuning in. I appreciate you being here. Please do send me your thoughts, your questions, so we can delve into the mind of the narcissist. Just been thinking about this. So let's get started. Jung is heralded as the man, the psychoanalyst, the deep thinker who coined the term the shadow. Jung's goal was to understand the human mind and expose what determines people's identity. It makes us who we are. Enter the shadow. This is the part of our unconscious mind that Jung believed to hold all the things about ourselves that we repress, whether because they are evil, socially unacceptable, harmful to others, or detrimental to our own health. Our shadows embody our inner darkness, the things about ourselves we hide, the damage we experience in our lives but never fully heal, desires we cannot satisfy. It's agreed today that the shadow self can be described as highly emotional, driven by primal instinct, often violent and usually concealed from the social world by the conscious mind. Jung also believed the qualities in our shadow were determined by the things we criticize the most in others. It is, so to speak, the dark mind. Everything we separate from the rest of ourselves. Humans are drawn to this concept of conscious and unconscious mind, divided into archetypes of the persona, the ego, the shadow, and the anima and animus, which all together create the self. So when you think about the shadow, that darkness that's inside of you, what if, in the case of P Diddy, his shadow was realized due to enablers that would allow him to go into the dark place, do the things to others that were socially unacceptable, that were evil? What if those enablers were also his mentors? They say that Andre Harrell was his mentor. Well, we can prove that. He worked for Andre when he was 20 years old. He was given a VP position at the company, at the record company that was owned by Arista. Clive Davis, who was one of the first people in the music business to come out as being gay. There's been allegations against P Diddy that he's actually gay and he's in the closet, and he was throwing these parties and he was having male prostitutes have sex with his then girlfriend Casey for his own dark, sordid enjoyment, where he would fondle himself until climax as he watched his girlfriend with these individuals. What was in his shadow? What came up? What was he able to act out? What was in him that he was able to allegedly do this to his woman? It is alleged that he not only abused Cassie, but he abused men. Cuba Gooding Jr. has been in the press as well with allegations of sexual misconduct. Diddy's place either was at a residence or at a party or in a studio, I can't recall. But he has allegations against him by a male producer. These allegations are of a sordid kind, the kind of attention and sexual misconduct that no one would want on them. The shadow, that darkness that is hidden in the unconscious mind. Enablers who allowed Diddy to be Diddy. Enablers in my book have some shadow in them that didn't mind seeing. Was it just the money? Or was their shadow activated? And even though they might have been repulsed by what they saw, they still stayed under his employment. Can't believe that. Actually, I can believe that positional power was at play. In the corporate space, we talk about positional power. That's your boss has a certain level of power over you, right? That's positional power. He's in a higher position or she's in a higher position. They have power over you. They can determine your fate. They can determine whether or not you're going to get that paycheck. Diddy was in a positional power. And I'd only imagine for what he was doing, they were probably paid very handsomely. The promises of stardom, fame, exorbitant amounts of wealth. People get driven by that. And especially if you take that person from a socioeconomic situation where it was not something that they wanted to go back to and they only wanted out. You could easily find targets like that. Desperate young people wanting out of the situation that they grew up in. And imagine if your father wasn't around. I saw an excerpt of Bieber, Justin Bieber. He's 15 at the time, and him and Diddy are on doing some kind of live or something. And he's talking about, yeah, this is going to be your car. Not yet. When he's like 16, he had to teach him some things. He had to educate him. Bieber was exposed undoubtedly to things that a young mind should not have privy to. Wild parties, undoubtedly drugs, extreme amounts of alcohol, ladies. Usher was on Howard Stern podcast, and Howard Stern was talking to him about Flavor Camp. That at 13 years old, Usher was sent to live with P Diddy, not his father, not his uncle, not his brother. A 13-year-old boy sent to live with a grown man to learn about the music business. And he said he saw some things. He saw some things he shouldn't have seen. And Howard Stern asked him, if you have kids now, he said, would you send him to Flavor Camp? And he said, hell no. And the way he said it made me feel, a lot of people feel like he saw some things he should not have seen. But what did he see? What was he exposed to? See, positional power, money power. That money will make a person handsome. I never thought Diddy was handsome. I just didn't. I thought, eh. And I just thought, they made him look good. There's a lot of actors, a lot of people, successful people with money that, they don't look that good, but their pocket's fat. They seem a little bit off, but they got a big record company and they got successful artists. So we could trust them with our son. Really? Parents get involved in the idea of the glitz, the glamour, the money. They get involved with the idea that their child may have all of that because see, that trickles down to mom and dad or just mom. And if mom didn't have much, if mom has always struggled, maybe that was it. Son is talented, can dance his butt off, can sing like an angel. Charm. Usher got charm. Justin Bieber, for the right people, he got charm. He was handsome to all the young teenage girls that like that kind of guy. Didn't Usher's mama think that's a bit odd? You send him to another state, your baby, 13 years old? Like for real? My daughter's 19, she'll be 20. 13? Send my daughter to Flavor Camp? Are you kidding? 13 was just the year before 12. And the year before that, 11. And the year before that, 10. They're children. But positional power, money power, fame power will have people doing stupid stuff. Will have young people doing stupid stuff. And then you add drugs and you add alcohol and you add all the sycophants around the person with that power. Everything seems like, oh, well, this is what it is. This is normal. The shadow. It's the things about ourselves that we repress, whether because they're evil. Did something evil happen to Diddy when he was young? Did something happen that he did not want to happen when he was young? And he repressed that anger. But the flesh, see, the flesh is just human. The flesh will react when intoxicated. The flesh will react when it has drugs in its system. It will do things that you wouldn't necessarily do when you're conscious. When you're conscious, you enter into the unconscious when you fill your body with things to alter your perception. It's alleged that he used GBH. Apparently that GBH is madness. You can be walking around. You can walk with your abuser and talk with your abuser, and they can essay you, and you won't have any recollection of it. But you'll know something happened because of how you physically feel. And I wonder if there's little glimpses, little snapshots that keep playing back. The shadow, the darkness trying to peer its head, trying to say, look at me. Why do I hate that person? What is it about them? Yes, they did something to me. They said the shadow is described as highly emotional, driven by primal instinct. If you are taught at a young age to abuse, you're being abused and you're taught at a young age to abuse, that's the primal instinct. That's unleashed, the dark instinct, the shadow instinct, that's unleashed. But you have a choice, you see. Do you act on it? Do you bring it to the conscious? Or do you look at it, deal with that darkness inside of you and heal from that darkness inside of you? You have a choice. You have a choice. That's why I said I don't feel sorry for Diddy. There was a point, I guarantee you, we can't get into his mind, and we never will get into his mind. If he did, which is there's witnesses to say he has, but allegedly, if he did what they say he has done, there was a point before he went there. There was a point that he could have made a different choice. And what would his destiny have looked like? I've been pondering this. Somebody said to me in a post I did some weeks back, not about Diddy, but they were just mad at me because I said that, prayer's not going to change a narcissist. To pray for the strength to leave that fool, because they make a choice, you guys. The truth, they make a choice. And you think that you're going to pray them out of that situation. They're going to stop beating you. They're going to stop abusing you. They're going to stop, stomping on you in your life. You're fooling yourself. And that's the truth nobody wants you to hear. Not all prayer works, especially when you're in that situation. You can pray for yourself. You can pray that you're going to live when that person bashes you upside your head for the 10th time. You can pray that, but that prayer for that evil repression that's coming up to the surface and enablers are supporting them, it ain't going to work. I'm KK Harris. This is the Narcissism Chronicles. I hope you like what you have heard, and it's at least stirred something inside of you to protect yourself, to stay safe, to make the right choices. You don't have to be a victim. That red flag, follow it. Step away from this madness. This world is changing and the truth is coming to light. Be part of the truth. Don't get caught up in that. There are so many people so complicit in that, so many enablers in this story. And the truth is chilling, but it's also the mind, the unconscious mind, is being unleashed to do horrendous things, allegedly. I'm out.